and loving being able to do this topic because it means I can look up nerdy pretty things. So this is Angkor Wat, which is in Cambodia, which is this freaking awesome temple, which is actually quite a lot bigger than it shows in the photo. That's been kind of mostly reclaimed, but it's actually been rediscovered fairly recently. It's a really big tourist attraction. So yes, awesome, pretty building. Okay, so general intro to archaeology. Archaeology is one of those topics that kind of covers everything. So its formal definition is a way of seeing and learning about past human cultures through the analysis of material remains in their temporal and spatial context. Basically, what that means is that with archaeology, we look at all of the material remains that humans have left behind. So this can be pretty much anything. So if there's a rock which has been slightly worn away from human activities, then that will count as an artifact because it has some kind of human intervention. It also includes things like beams. There was a guy quite recently who managed to do a massive project looking at the change in culture. The change in vegetation through in this one particular region of a lake, because the way that the climate was, the lake had actually preserved all these different layers with all these seeds that had been blown into the lake. So we could actually take samples of it and reconstruct what the vegetation would have been like at these particular layers. He also found about 50 new species of ants that had been preserved in these layers in the lake. Yeah, it can cover a very wide range of things. So basically anything that humans have had anything to do with. And this
from that, he must have just discovered that ants can't swim.
Pretty much, yes. And they have freaking awesome names. There was some terrifying ones. Yes, so this isn't also our kind of a modern definition of humans as in Homo sapiens. This is all kind of human-like ancestors. So it starts from, when we deviated from chimps and includes the branches that have come off that, which didn't actually lead directly to Homo sapiens. So we split off from Neanderthals quite a while ago, but they would still be covered in archaeology because they are part of that kind of human lineage. And on an interesting note, we actually have about 5% Neanderthal DNA, so we must have coexisted for at least a little while and gotten on fairly well. Okay, so the other main thing with this definition is that archaeologists have to be really, really precise about how they research and how they record things. So that's part of the spatial context. Basically, an artifact is almost useless if you don't have its context. I was on a dig recently, and we were looking for kind of chips that had come off stone tools while they were being made. So we were at a manufacturing site, an ancient Aboriginal manufacturing site, and we'd been digging, and there was one point where we wandered down to the river, and we found a quartz core, which was exactly what we'd been looking for the whole time, sitting on the surface, and we couldn't use it because it wasn't in context, and it wouldn't have provided any information like how it got there, what kind of time period it was associated with, what other artifacts it was associated with. So even though we knew it was from human intervention, and we knew that it was really, really relevant to what this lady was looking at, we couldn't use it because it wasn't in its context. So yeah, context is absolutely essential, which is why I've actually put in this thing of Tutankhamun. One of the reasons that everyone got so excited about Tutankhamun was because everything was in context. There had been no tomb raiders. We knew exactly how they had arranged it in the past. It was an amazing discovery because almost every other one that had been found had been pillaged, either in the ancient past or in the present or over a continual period of time. But Tutankhamun still had the original feel, and it was absolutely perfect. It was just as they had left it, and there were things like I think it was the herbs that had been included in the wraps, and the amulets were all in exactly the place they had been, and it was very exciting. There was a reason they got really, really enthusiastic about Tutankhamun. Okay, I think I've also talked a bit about this one. So the main thing that archaeologists actually look for is patterns. So it's quite similar to science in that you need things to be kind of statistically significant. So it's great if you find this really, really amazing sculpture, but if you don't know when it was from and you can't actually look at it as part of the bigger picture. So one of the main things is you've got to look at something in space. So you don't just look at, there is an artifact here. You look at the entirety of the building, the entirety of ANU. This basically comes down to industry funding and how much research has been done before. But if you can, you look at it in the most broad context possible. So you go from the specific location to maybe the village that it existed in, to where the clusters of villages were at the time, the trade routes between them. If you can extend further, then you do. It's one of those things where it comes down to limitations in funding and the research that's being done. But there's so much collaboration between archaeologists. It's actually lovely. One of those lovely things I actually found with archaeology is that a lot of the time they all seem to kind of help each other out, particularly when it comes to things like odd techniques that aren't particularly well known. I know quite a lot of the archaeologists at ANU very regularly help out PhD students and grad students in these weird little techniques that are specific to certain areas. One of the other main things is time and form. So that's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. So you look for something that's being constructed in the same way as something else, and that can get down to a really basic molecular level. So if there was a PhD student here who was looking at obsidian, and there was obsidian is a really odd little rock in that you can really easily date where it's from because of the chemical traces. It's a very rare rock to begin with, and it holds a lot of those original chemical traces really well. So they were actually able to identify which volcano this obsidian had come from, and then traced it throughout Papua New Guinea. So they knew very well how far the trade routes had gone because it had come from one really specific location and traveled throughout Papua New Guinea. And they could look at that, and quite often, if you have that spatial context of where the layers are, and you can kind of get a vague timeline, you can actually trace how quickly it traveled, or you can try and trace how quickly it traveled, and to where, and how much of this stuff actually remains, and quite often what it was used for. So the other one with form is that it's actually used quite often to kind of create almost timelines. One of the really important things with archaeology is trying to find the time that something's come from, and it's done in a whole different way, which I will go into later. But that's one of the really important things with form is that you can look at how something's been made, what its shape's like, how it differs from other things, and actually try and get that into time. Okay, so this is just some kind of vague terminology. As I said, artifacts are anything that humans. These all include things that will be covered and really relevant in archaeology because they've had human influence. So artifacts are things that have been specifically modified. So it could be a stone tool, it could be some kind of a carving. But basically, it's anything that's been kind of changed by the human presence. And when you go onto a kind of a larger scale, it becomes quite different features. So as it says, human modifications in the landscape. So the remains of houses, hearths, pits, fields, roads, anything that we've kind of done to change the landscape and how things would have been originally. So even if that includes, diverting rivers, the main things that it could actually be counted as a site or a feature because it's something we've very actively done to change what was there originally. And the main one, which unfortunately isn't often quite well preserved, is ecofacts. So it's, as it says, things of non-cultural origin. So I do object to this definition a little bit because these things can kind of become artifacts. And with ecofacts, most of the time it's things that have been eaten is the main kind of common one. But with things like bone and shell, they can definitely become artifacts because humans will modify them. So you can use them as earrings, as arrows or spear points. They can actually become kind of artifacts by manipulation by humans beyond kind of eating the food. And the ecofacts would definitely cover even the studies that guy was doing with the levels in the lake. The seeds in there would actually be counted as ecofacts because the vegetation was actually affected by the humans that were living there. So they were doing some burning off, and they would have been planting crops and weeding out the ones they didn't want. And they actually found a huge rise and then there was a really big increase in the number of these nuts, and a lot of the native grasses and things actually became extinct. So it was a very clear demonstration of humans having very direct effects on the environment. Okay, this is very directly, this is one of these things that's really important with context and time, is that when you're digging, you want to kind of keep the, it's called the vertical stratigraphy. So if you look, when you're looking at the vertical stratigraphy, which is exactly what this is showing, it's showing you how it's been changing over time and the different levels. So it's a fairly basic context. The stuff at the bottom will be older than the stuff at the top. But as you can see, it becomes quite distorted with loads of different activities, but particularly environmental, can have a really big impact on how these layers actually sit and how they're shifted. Other main thing is humans building on top of previous sites. There was a tell, which was in, I think it was in Macedonia. It was this massive tell, which is basically a giant hill, but it's been formed because someone built a village there. That village has collapsed and become part of the ground, and someone come and built another village on top of it. And it's sort of risen into this giant hill, which has all these different layers from all these different time periods. One of the other important things you have to keep an eye out for is animal activity and human activity. As you can see there, someone's clearly dug a well or something, which has become gradually filled in, so it doesn't actually correspond to what it was originally. And another example with kind of environmental impact is the site we were working on had a river going through it, and the levels at which the river had been in the past weren't consistent, so there was changes in height. So when we were digging down, sometimes when you got to about 50 centimeters, you would hit the riverbed, and then we had another one where we got down to about 90 centimeters before we hit anything. So it can really change where things sit. But it's a really useful. Vertical stratigraphy is absolutely essential in trying to figure out where things sit. At least if you can't be definite about a date, you can say, I know that Z is older than R and younger than D. And being able to make something like that, and you can get a definite date for either R or Z or D, it helps you kind of place it within that timeline. Okay, this is some of the limitations and problems with biology, with archaeology. One of the major problems is an incomplete record. So that's a really good example of that is ancient humans. We really have very, very small amounts of evidence that we're basing conclusions off. There's one species which has been defined as a species which they've been basing off I think it's 2 finger bones and a tooth. That was their evidence for this new species. So it's one of those things where you can go right out on a limb with evidence, and it can offshoot in many, many different directions just because you haven't got the evidence to back it up, which is basically when you have to say, we don't have the evidence, we think this might have been what happened, but it could have also been this, or something else we haven't thought of. So yeah, it's one of those things you've always got to keep in mind when you're looking at things, is quite often you aren't seeing the full picture, and you can't see the full picture because it's not there anymore, unfortunately. The other thing is there's a very clear class bias when it comes to archaeology and archaeological remains, which basically means that the lower classes would be using a lot of organic material, which is fine. They'd be using a lot of organic material, so if you build your house out of wood and then your house gets knocked down, it's very unlikely that you will actually be able to find much evidence of that because it's more likely to rot away. And it's very hard to actually find preserved organic material just because it does rot and it does decay a lot more quickly than things like stone and metal do. So yeah, and with the lower classes, a lot of the time they didn't actually have as many materials that were made out of stone or metal or any of those kind of things, whereas the upper classes would. So if you've got a stone house, even if it gets knocked down, quite often you'll have a foundation of stones left and potentially cellars, hearths. So if you find those kind of stone foundations, you can look within them and find more evidence, which you wouldn't necessarily look for things like artwork and literature can be really useful in kind of supplementing that, but it has to be taken with a pinch of salt because quite often these things can kind of mislead you and they do have a bias towards their classes. But yeah, so there is a definitive class bias. The other thing, the point that I was making before, is human activities can actually destroy what was there originally. So if you come across, an old city and you don't think that it'll be particularly useful for your modern way of living, you will quite often knock that down or make modifications to an older place, and that can actually quite clearly destroy what's been underneath, and you will find traces that often you won't be able to find nearly as much as if nothing else had happened to that site. Funding is, as with most areas of academia, one of the other limitations. And the other thing with funding is it's quite often government driven, and that can put a really big bias on things. A very clear example of that was I was in Israel last year in July for about a month, and with all of the tour guides, I was talking to them about this, that they said the funding for archaeology in Israel is actually pretty good, but it's all Jewish centric. Now, Israel is one of those areas where there has been at least 11,000 years of culture. That was one of the places where agriculture started, and it has this massively rich history. But with biases like that, you can't actually go back any further because to do so would destroy the material that you have on top. So if you don't actually have the backing of the government to do that kind of thing, then it's really hard to get evidence as passed because it's under the really important thing that you're looking at. And a really clear example of that is this particular, I think I've got a photo of it later actually, particular town called Gizria, which is not especially ancient. It's before Christ, but it's this kind of Roman-esque town in the middle of Israel, which is very random and very cool, but it was also, it's known to be a much older site. And while I've excavated the entirety of Caesarea, and I found, an amphitheater and chariots and all these very cool things, there's one tiny portion that I think was about 20 meters by about 5 meters, where the government had actually said, okay, you're allowed to dig and look for further evidence here. This is a massive town. This town must have been at least 2 kilometers long, and it went about a kilometer back from the seashore, and the sea had come up by that point. So of all that area, they had been given this tiny little portion to look in because it was a big tourist site, and because the government had particular focuses on this area. So it can, funding and the amount of time you have to look for things can play a real part. Especially an Australian example that's really relevant is mining. So you have archaeologists come in, check before they're allowed to mine. If they find anything, most of the time they're given about 3 weeks to excavate the entire thing and get it out. It can be this is very site specific. So it's not like this all the time, but most of the time there's a lot of pressure on the archaeologists to either say they haven't found anything or do a really, really quick and not necessarily thorough investigation. Yeah, it can really damage kind of the evidence we have because you'll have this you've had this really, really quick and not especially thorough investigation. It's a real pity. The other thing is the environmental influences. So as I was saying before, you've got the movement of the earth to begin with, and then you have things like rising sea level. So this is, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. It's a settlement up in Norway, I think it is. Very ancient Stone Age settlement, and it was the Erasable culture or something like that. But it was actually, the sea line was about 300 meters further back than it is currently. So they actually, I think they actually had artifacts that had been washing up on shore. And so it had gone from being here, sea has risen, and it's eventually become entirely underwater. But it's actually one of those amazing sites where things, organic material is preserved, because as you can see the little weed layer here, that's actually, it doesn't contain any oxygen. So it actually preserved all of the organic material really well, but it's actually it's started to erode away currently. So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, if we don't do something now, we're going to lose all of it. So that and they have some rather amazing finds. Like they found boats, and they actually found netting, which is ridiculously rare because it was organic material. So they actually knew kind of how they made their nets and the size and from that you can kind of elaborate and say, well, it's a hole about this big. We're going to assume they weren't looking for sardines and things like that. So you can actually sort of derive around general ideas of what they could have been fishing for, what they could have been eating. So yeah, it was one of those really amazing but fabulous sites. Okay, so just a general kind of approach on how you would go about doing archaeological excavations. First of all, you define a site with something, and the photos I've got up currently are new kind of imaging materials that we have. So this was, I'm trying to remember now, but this was somewhere in South America which had a really, really dense, sorry, Mexico. Yeah, it was in Mexico and it had this really dense jungle covering. So you couldn't actually find anything, they couldn't actually go into the area and search for anything very easily. So they used these, it was a magnetic array survey. So they went in and actually found this very clear outline of temple ruins. And it was quite a lot bigger size, massive size, that couldn't be seen from the air just by normal photography because there was such a dense jungle covering and it couldn't be accessed with any kind of ease. So it was this kind of imaging and this kind of technology which actually allowed them to do this. But quite often with finding sites, depending on where you are, a lot of the time it's sheer luck. Like I know in Europe, quite often a farmer will dig up something and be like, this looks weird, I'm going to take it to a university or something. And quite often that was how a lot of the really important sites were discovered. With Australia, it's a little more straightforward because we actually have a native population and they've maintained those areas and they kind of knew where people used to live. And with things like rock art in particular, it's really important. And archaeologists can actually find sites and be like, okay, well we have general ideas. We think this area is where there was an ancient settlement. So I can have a general idea of where to dig. But for areas like South America where you've got a really rich history and not a particularly strong or well-remembered native population, it can be a real challenge to actually just find sites. Okay, so excavation techniques. So this is basically just the general way that you would approach doing digs. So most of the time you kind of start off with test pitting, and this is just a very general overview. This can change quite dramatically between areas. But so you start with a test pit. So you dig a hole that's maybe a meter deep and 500 millimeters square, and see if you find anything basically. And you do this across a really wide area. And in places where you find artifacts or you find something that could potentially be interesting, then you can go back and dig in a lot broader kind of sense. And in that kind of case, most of the time you will have something like a trench. So you'll come along, you'll widen out that test pit, dig deeper, and dig wider. And the good thing with the trench layout is they tend to be quite thin and long. So you actually maintain the vertical stringency that I was talking about. So you can actually see the progress over time as you dig in further, which is really useful. Okay, and digging techniques is basically what you'd think it was. So you can dig with shovels. Trowels is the most common one because they don't cause much damage and you can actually do it in a really controlled and precise fashion. But you do get wider scales where you'll be using, a mattock or get some kind of earth moving machinery to just get the top layer off, because sometimes there was a cave there was a cave in, I think it was Papua New Guinea, which had about 2.5 meters of organic material on top that just had nothing in it at all. So they just came in with earth moving material, took that whole lot off, and then actually started digging carefully. Digging techniques really change depending on what you're looking for. So if you think that it's possible that there will be bones survive, then of course you dig a lot more carefully, and once you've actually dug out a certain amount of soil, and if you haven't found anything, most of the time you'll sieve that soil, and again, depending on what you think might be there, will depend on the wideness of the sieve that you use. So if you're looking for something, if you see you're just finding potentially like reptile bones much finer sieve. But it's a really kind of broad area, and it will change a lot depending on what you're doing. So like the slide I showed before, where the site was actually entirely underwater, they had to go very slowly. You had scuba divers down there, so you could only stay down for about 40 minutes. They would only allow them to stay down for about 40 minutes, and then you'd like vacuum cleaners to get out the dirt, and yeah. So yeah, it really is very site dependent on how you actually go about getting the things out of the ground. And while you're doing this, of course, you have to be really, really stringent about saying exactly where you found something. So you quite often will have a really extensive map with all of these areas numbered. And as you go down, you'll normally go down in what's called spits, which will be about 5 centimeters potentially. So you'll take off the top 5 centimeters, sieve that. If you find anything, you know that it was directly in that 5 centimeters and in a particular area. So you can identify really well where it was within the actual layers. And if you find anything like a half, again, you start excavating, you would excavate based on exactly where that was, and you have to report exactly where that was during in the site, because it's very hard to come back later and actually say, well, I remember that one tiny bit of rock was right there. So yes, you have to be really, really specific, and because if you lose that, then you can't reclaim it. That's one of the things with archaeology, is that it is a destructive process. Once you've dug something up, you can't put it back, and you can't go back and do it more thoroughly because it's gone. So there's actually quite a few sites where they've been left alone because we don't have the technology to analyze them in the way that they deserve. So they're basically just a waiting game. So sorry, yes, Mark?
Do you have any examples of stuff like that? That sounds fascinating.
Not off the top of my head,
There is
unfortunately. Yeah.
big one. Pompeii. Most of
Yes.
Pompeii were not
Sorry.
there.
Yeah, they've excavated about 40-50% Pompeii, and that really depends on who was excavating. Some of them were great, and some of them were awful. Most of them were awful. Sorry, I'm saying that they're awful and that they would take all of the dirt out really, really quickly. It's a very fast operation, and quite often, some of them actually cut mosaics out of walls and then didn't record where they were. So we've just got these big gaping holes in mosaics that have gone off to museums and had absolutely no context. Yeah, and the other thing with Pompeii is that it's decaying pretty rapidly. A lot of the mosaics that were really clear have actually faded quite rapidly, and you've got things like vegetation's been coming in and cracking a lot of different things, and vermin, and then of course tourists. We are incredibly destructive, and this litter and people walking like this, just it's not good. So yeah, that's one of the ones where we're definitely just kind of leaving it alone until we know we can excavate it in a way that it kind of deserves.
Really awesome Greek library, and you know exactly where it is. And you have a really good idea of what it contains and whether it sticks.
However, we also have no way of unrolling scrolls so that they won't be destroyed. They've managed. They've started working on it. They've got a machine which can unravel them really, really slowly, and most of the time they won't crack, but they still crack. And it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, let's just leave it alone until we know what to do with it properly. Okay, so this is one of the main things that archaeologists spend a lot of time trying to come up with, is timelines. And easily the most specific method we have is dendrochronology, which this is an example of. So it's tree rings, basically. You're using tree rings to date things, and it's one of the really interesting processes where we can get back, as you can see, to about 2,000 years BC. Because if you've got a really, really ancient living tree, and you can count back, say, 500 years, and then if you can go to a church and be like, right, I know this church is made out of oak, the 500-year-old tree was also made out of oak, and it was from a similar area, because it does vary based on regions. So if an area has it like a drought, the rings will change, and if it has a really fertile period, the rings will also change. So you have to also maintain on type and area. So if you've got a church that's really close to this ancient oak tree, you can go and have a look at the leaves and what you know is oak in this particular church, and sometimes you can actually match them. So you can actually go further back based on signs. And I'm trying to remember the specifics of these ones, but this is clearly, it was an ancient modern tree. they managed to date to one of the really ancient churches, so we could actually get back even further. But that is easily the most specific kind of timeline we have, which is unfortunate because it only goes back to about 2000 years. So the next type was typology, which is what I was saying about how it's really important to actually note form, and they are really anal about form. Like if something you get down to millimeters, very specific shapes, and as you can see, these are stone heads. These are probably one of the easier things to date. When you get to pottery, it gets really annoying really quickly. So you can actually kind of be like, okay, well we know that this is the oldest that we found, and we know this because we found a tree sample near this in the same context that dates it to this particular period. So you can be like, okay, well we found these particular types, and then you can try and actually track the evolution of these particular heads through time, and that's how we come up with this typological timeline. The problem with this is quite often you can get them into that specific category. Like you can find a stone head and be like, right, okay, it looks like this one. It fits in with this time period. But actually establishing the specific time period can be really tricky. There was one example where the heads hadn't changed for about 10,000 years. Sorry, 10,000 years. It was a very long time that these heads had stayed really similar, and then they just kind of split off all over the place and changed really dramatically. So it can be a fairly unreliable method because things change based on demand, and it can happen very rapidly. It's not a nice systematic series of change. So the other main one is carbon dating. This is a really useful technique, but it has a lot of problems as well. And quite often when we say carbon date, it will be from the 1950s because they date to the 1950s. You can adjust it. There are adjusted measures, but it also gets more annoying because they don't always say that it is the adjusted method. So it could be out by about 50 years already because they don't actually specify when it's coming from. The other thing with carbon dating is that you almost always date younger because there will be some kind of interference from something else. It has to be very clean. And if you get an older date, most of the time that will be the most reliable one because if you get any kind of contamination, chances are it's going to come out as much younger than it's actually saying it is, which is why you can get really shifting scales when it comes to carbon dating. I know there was the skeleton that they dated about 30 or 50 years ago, and then they dated again recently, and they got like 20,000 years difference because it had contamination and it had come out as a newer date because it had been contaminated with another species of charcoal, carbon. Do you want me to actually go into kind of the scientific bits of carbon dating?
Maybe at the end of the time?
Okay, fair enough. I'll go into the end. The next slide, please. Okay, the other thing with archaeology is that it is ridiculously interdisciplinary, which is fabulous in some regards and really annoying in others because it's classified as an art, but then you get things like zooarchaeology. So there was a site that was actually, I think it was colloquially known as the pit to hell, because when they were digging, the sun would come like streaming into this cave, and it would be about 40 degrees. So this was in Papua New Guinea. It was hot to begin with. It would be about 40 degrees outside, and the sun streaming in. It sounds like an awful place to work. But they found a cave that had been inhabited by humans, and where they had actually taken, the animals they killed, and they'd been thrown into this kind of ravine bed at the bottom. So there was a really nice accumulation of animals that had been eaten over the years, which was amazing. But the thing is that if you go in there as an archaeologist and you haven't looked at animal bones, you've looked at how to dig, time periods, and vases, you can identify stone tools, and then you get this random tiny little vertebrae, and you have no idea what to do with it because you have to be so specific when it comes to these kind of things. It's really hard to get someone who is very broad and can cover a lot of archaeological areas because if you have someone who specializes in zooarchaeology, they have to know all of the animals that are likely to be from that region and be able to identify them, and quite often from very small samples of bone. And I know in this particular particular example, there was one point where there was about 200 animal skeletons that had just been jumbled together, and they had to go through and separate them and figure out how many individuals they were and how of each different species. It's but it's very interdisciplinary, and when you get things like rock art, it's another really interesting one because you get people who are specialized in art and specialized in how to analyze different forms. And I picked this image in particular because you can actually see the thing with rock art is that it tends to be layered. So the stuff at the bottom will always be there's a top. So we actually have an older one here, a more modern one here, and then the most recent here. So you get a lot of kind of layering effects, and it really changes based on regions as to what the different images actually mean to people. The other thing with rock archaeology is you can get really, really scientific. So you can actually take samples of pigment and try and actually figure out where it came from. So if you've got black, you would assume it was some kind of carbon, which is very hard to identify. But things like yellows and reds quite often have very distinct chemical signatures, which they can actually quite specifically locate within an area. And for that, you need geologists. So you need to have had some kind of survey of the area and know where these particular minerals occurred. Yellow in particular is quite often uranium. So if you haven't had a kind of geological survey of the area, you don't know where the uranium came from. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to find out where those pigments are coming from and how far they're being transported. So it's one of those things that's really, really interesting. Another example of that is pottery making, and you can do the same thing. You can take the actual pot itself, find out what it's been made from, and find out where they've been sourced and placed from. And for that, you need to be able to analyze it, and you need to know the general geography of the area to actually be able to pick where it's come from. And within that, you need someone who's actually specialized in pottery making, so they know kind of where the particular form would come from or what kind of pottery it is. Something as basic as that, because then you can start implying about technology, because this particular pot has to have been heated to 600 degrees for it to have made this form. And then you can imply clearly they have the technology to be able to actually set these pots. It's one of those things where it just kind of branches everywhere, and it can be amazing and really frustrating at the same time. Okay, one of the other really important things with archaeology is the ability to model, and that's something that's actually only come about fairly recently. So we've had so when I'm saying modeling, I'm saying it's things like most obvious example is bone modification. So if you've got a bone and there are clearly markings on it, how are you going to be able to tell if they're from rats or dogs or wearing by stone or wearing by water or people actually coming in and butchering the animals? It's one of those things where it's really hard to actually know what caused it unless you can go through and model all of those scenarios. They've also been doing things like that with bows and arrows, where they'll reconstruct an example of that bow and arrow and then see if you can pierce a pig's hide. How close do you have to be? How much power would this bow have actually had? It's also the same as quite a lot of the things like trebuchets. How far would they have actually been able to launch, and how practical is this thing? Another clear example of that was ravaging in ancient Athens was something that the Spartans would come into the Athenian territory, and in a lot of the sources they would have said to have ravaged the countryside. There was someone, Hansen, who actually grew up on an olive grove, and he had a lot to do with actually growing and producing olives, and came to people with this ravaging because they were talking about how dramatic it was and how it kind of ruined the economy and blah blah blah. And said, it's really hard to do anything but superficial damage to an olive, particularly in the time period that they're specifying and the amount of area that they would have covered. They would have done basically nothing. It just would have annoyed the farmers a bit that they'd been on their land. Another example is most of the time you think of archaeology as something that's ancient. You're always looking at the past, way into the past. And this was actually, the Garbage Project was something that was done in America, where they actually took advantage of the fact that we have living people, got them to take a whole heap of surveys, particularly on products that they bought, calculated the differences between what they were saying and how much actually happened, and of course there were huge discrepancies. So it was just one of those really interesting things where it kind of proves that archaeology can be used in the modern world, and it's something that is still kind of very relevant today, that you're actually going through and looking at the material culture and how, what kind of implications that has on the people who are living there. So, if you're eating, if you've got, thrown out Chanel bottles or very expensive chocolate, you can probably imply that these are people who are fairly well off. And if you can make loads of different assumptions based on kind of the products that they've got and how much they're eating of them, and it's basically what you'd be doing with ancient civilizations as well. You'd be looking at if they've got particularly like luxury goods, how much of them they're eating, how well fed they've been. And one of the other things, slightly off topic, one of the things with archaeology, the only kind of direct link we have to the past is skeletons, and they are completely invaluable. Basically, you can tell so much from skeletal remains. You can't look at just a single individual. You can find out information about that individual, but as soon as you get to something that's like on a population level, then you can find out some really interesting things, like how many children were there. You can make demographic population kind of distribution, so you can estimate age, gender, height, and you can also actually tell things like how much manual labor they've done, what kind of muscle groups they were using. You can get down to that specific. So for it was archers in the English army pulling those, I think it was 150-pound longbows.
150 to 200.
Bloody heavy longbows. They had really well developed shoulder muscles and much denser bone structure in their shoulders, and they also destroyed their shoulder muscles. And you could see that. Most of the time with archaeologists, if you found a skeleton of someone who was an archer in the army at that time, you could say they were definitely an archer. They have really well developed muscles, specifically on their right hand, and their shoulder stock are just completely destroyed. So clearly doing some really, really heavy work with these particular muscle groups on one hand, which wouldn't have happened with a peasant. Most of the time you'd be using both, at least. You can also, it's actually fantastic with bones. You can look at isotopes in the bone, and you can actually find out where they were born, where they spent the majority of their time, so based on the isotopes in their food, which is a little bit amazing. And of course you can tell, nourishment and how well they were fed. And so you've got things like, it's really interesting discrepancies with how old the skeleton actually is and how well fed they are. Because if they're well fed, they'll be kind of conforming to normal standards. They'll be growing well. But if they haven't been fed well, or they've got some kind of malnourishment or some kind of disease, it shows up very clearly in the bones, and you can tell that quite easily. Bones are one of those fantastic things where they can give you a lot of information, but are of course very, very sensitive area. Aboriginals, very clear example is that there's been quite a few court cases of people not wanting their ancestors' bones destroyed, and especially not wanting them on display in museums. So it's one of those areas where you have to be very careful and talk to the ancestors, talk to the descendants. Yeah. Yep, questions? Also from startup, because it's awesome.
Is there any issues with like confirmation bias in archaeology? You're saying we're looking at like excavations and like sieve sizing.
Yes.
So it's like if you think they're being fish, you'd use a fine sieve to be able to catch the bones. But then that means that if you didn't expect them to be eating fish, you wouldn't use a tiny sieve to be able to find out whether they had fish on them. Is that like a big issue? Or?
Yes, definitely. That's also one of the things where it comes down to technology. Most of the time, if you're doing a test pit, you have to go really slowly, and you'll go very slowly, and you will use something like time. This is if you're conducting good practice. There's a lot of very bad practice. But yes, you're dead on. If you're not looking for something quite often, and it's easy to miss quite often, which is very unfortunate, and why particularly things like Pompeii. If we don't know to look for something, we probably won't find it. If we have techniques which will use something that we've already destroyed or gotten rid of and useful. Yes.
The 1920s discovery of tin cups turned archaeology from sort of a niche art into a spectator sport. And the more recent developments have seen it popularized further through things like TV shows like Time Team. Do these, or at least in the modern day, do shows like Time Team, in your opinion, help or hinder the actual practice of archaeology?
What about Jones?
Always gonna mention Jones. I think it's a bit of both. I think it's one of those things that's really useful and that it's kind of raised the profile and the public interest in archaeology, which is great because you get public interested, which is lovely, which means the government's like, oh, we should give them more funding, which is always nice. But it definitely makes a whole heap of stereotypes, which most of the time aren't necessarily true. Like you see people going in and excavating a site in one day. Oh God, no, that would never happen. And we actually got threatened by my first lecturer that you know that TV show with the Scottish guy with the gorgeous hair. If we ever quoted him, our essay would be failed instantly. So it's one of those things where it both kind of helps and hinders, in that it can create some kind of false stereotypes, but it's really good at kind of engaging the public and making them interested in what we're doing, which is lovely.
Another point, what's your opinion of Jared Diamond?
Well, it's really interesting that you mentioned that because I've had some lecturers who absolutely hate him and some who love him. So
The stupid ones, who is Jared Diamond?
Kalani. He's written like a very popular book.
Guns, Blood, and Steel.
Guns, Germs, and Steel.
Guns, Germs, and Steel.
Oh,
yes, exactly. Yes, that guy.
Very polarizing.
Most historians say he's rubbish because his timelines don't match up with recorded events, and this is a problem. Also, he tends to overlook social phenomena which do play a role. If your religion says you're not allowed to eat the tomato, then you're not eating the tomato, which is probably why it's not in your diet.
It's not because you couldn't grow tomatoes. Zach Basson's is one of those things that's very polarizing. Again, it's very nice to kind of raising profile of archaeology and people interested in what happens and why, but he doesn't tend to be particularly good with actually backing up what he's saying with a lot of good evidence. Yeah, he can.
And when we do things like test weaponry, he's often quite wrong. So people assume that steel is actually a big advantage when you're in hand-to-hand as opposed to, say, a rock. Turns out an Aztec jaguar warrior with a rock is at least as deadly as any Spaniard with a sword. Likewise, the high rate of fire that you get from a bow is actually quite important once you stop wearing armor and you've got guns. It doesn't help.
Yes, and that's why you found that archers their bows are getting heavier and heavier to the point where their spines are deformed. It's because they had to come up with heavier poundage bows so that they could counter gunpowder. But obviously that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, that's one of the other things that archaeologists can get really narky is that you don't have enough evidence to kind of agree a lot of the time, and you'll get people clashing heads quite dramatically, like, why did the Mayans go extinct? We did this in a tutorial topic, and there was much yelling.
Okay, on that one, the smallpox may have had an influence.
No,
I didn't.
the Mayans just went extinct. That was the Aztecs.
He's like, oh my god.
The Mayans just died.
Yeah, I thought the Mayans died out well before the arrival of the
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Aztec wrong.
Right.
Same shit.
Either way, the Mayans is a whole other thing as well.
Yes, basically. I think the main conclusion they've come to was something about climate change.
Something
boring. And there were so many things.
But it's still just kind of happening.
Yes.
So they were definitely doom and
Yes.
There were a lot of things around that could kill you.
Anyway,
Turns out they
talk about
all
carbon
did.
dating. Since we've got...
Carbon dating, quick question before you get on to the carbon dating. You said a name, and you pointed to a pretty picture. Can you please say what the name is and where that is? Okay, this is Masada. I have climbed this. It's very steep. This is an Israel. This is an ancient site that basically it's the center of a story from biblical times where the Jews there was about So I'm not sure of the specific details, but there was a large number of Jews who were trapped up here. Sorry, to preface this by saying there was originally.
I can fill you in on this if you like.
Was this the one?
Carry on.
8076, or around that time, there was a massive revolt in the Jewish province against the Roman government. And the revolt was very, very violently crushed. Jerusalem was burned to the ground, and we don't know, we suspect a very, very large number, hundreds of thousands of people were killed. The leaders of the Jewish revolt retreated to Masada, where they then found themselves besieged by the Roman legion, or by a Roman legion. Yeah, I'm sure there would have been a very large number of civilian refugees with them. Well, I think that's about. I mean, the tale goes that rather than either starve to death or face execution by the Romans if they surrendered, the defenders of Masada instead chose to throw themselves from the cliffs. But I don't actually know how much truth there is there.
Okay, what we got told was that basically their fortifications were down, and they were going to get killed by the Romans. It was basically the next day, and there was a mass suicide. Yeah. Basically, everyone killed each other, so that they didn't actually have to fall into the hands of the Romans. The reason I love this one is that it is beautifully excavated, and when you're on top, you can actually see the Roman camp, where the Romans were actually camped out, and it's just, it's beautiful. It's such a good job.
Despite all the death.
But it was also, I think
It's well preserved because it's dry and nothing grows and it's a lovely dead spot of nothingness.
And the very cool thing about this is that it was actually like a little mini fortress, and it has a spa bar. There's a giant bathhouse in it. I cannot remember the king, and I'm not going to say a name because I'll be wrong. But he came along and did really extensive work on this area. So there's actually, I think the spa bar is about here. So it was this beautifully kind of Romanesque fortress on top of a cliff, just beautifully preserved. So yeah.
You mentioned that we have no technology for unraveling scrolls.
We do.
Well,
it's not very good.
How is then that the Dead Sea Scrolls were able to be interpreted? Was that using this technology?
They weren't rolled.
Oh, was that?
No, they were flat.
That's
helpful.
So they would have been useless if they'd been rolled up?
Well, they probably would have cracked if they'd been rolled up, and we tried to unroll them.
They're working on some scanning technology to try to scan one layer at a time, but it's really hard to do that and pick up the writing traces, especially because it's a cylinder, which is hard because you can't take a nice, simple, two-dimensional plane to solve it.
Carbonated?
Rolled up paper burns, sort of unravel these to be able to
Genius.
That'll work.
Carbon dating.
Where is my Nobel Prize?
Okay, carbon dating works off
Just because
the
of
fact
the
that
story back with the ropes.
Oh, shush.
works off the fact that we have a very set amount of carbon 13 in organic products. And sorry, I was about to say that. Carbon normally exists in a form where it has 12 neutrons. And then neutrons?
12 something.
12 something.
Electron.
Thank you. Maybe.
Is he talking about
Sorry.
If it's an
Sorry.
isotope, it's got neutrons.
Yeah.
It exists in a form where it has 12 neutrons. But there is a very rare isotope which has 13. And this it's unstable, but it's stable enough that it will exist in natural beings. And once you actually die, this begins to decay. And it decays at a really, really consistent rate. So it takes, there's a very set kind of half-life, by which point there will be half the amount of carbon 13 remaining as there was originally, and you can calculate based on how much of the organic thing you've got in the first place you would have had originally, and the amount of carbon 13 that's remaining. So it's I can't remember the half-life, it's not
13,000 years, isn't it?
13,000 probably. Potentially.
No, sorry, 13,000 years as far back as it's useful. Yeah, I think it's about 500.
500?
500 or something,
Yeah.
Something, 550 or 500 or something like that. So if you have 6 of these atoms, and there are only 3 left by the time you get to it, it's like, okay, I know that this was made at least 500 years ago. At least 500 years old, which is really good. But as Mark said, it only goes back to about 13,000 years ago. And past that, we can actually use things like uranium dating, because it also has the same these are very unusual isotopes that is in a very set concentration. Which is the reason that it has so many problems with contamination is because carbon is basically everything. So if you have a sample and you get any kind of modern material on it, it will have more of those carbon-13 atoms than there will be in the actual artifact that you're trying to date. So it will add time on to the artifact you're looking at, and it will give you a newer date than is actually accurate.
Is it true that the Trinity nuclear test spread enough nuclear material around in the planet that they have also the way we have to do carbon testing? Because I've heard that all objects that were sort of excavated or on the surface of the planet at the time of the test and afterwards have increased levels of radioactive material.
They're very, very useful for dating lead and argon and a couple other isotopes. They don't really interfere with carbon dating. It's not spreading carbon around. But if you look at a graph of like, I can't remember what the radioactive isotope is, like basically spikes hugely in 50s.
That's
and
why
then
we're
drops.
back to 1950.
Yeah, we only do it to the 50s with carbon dating
then-
because that's when the nuclear age began.
And
I guess they do.
yeah, but yet there is a statistically significant jump in radiation.
But you can also very accurately date anything past that. Or to either side, but like the past is kind of 100 years, you can get really accurate dates on because you can trace the spike.
Slight correction, it's 13 and 14 is the total number of both protons and neutrons.
There we go.
Since you mentioned that, I'm going to why carbon-13 is also more annoying. Carbon-13 is a very useful technique, but it's one of those things where it has to be kind of aligned because there are changes. There are things that influence the amount of carbon-13 that there is to be in a normal universe, and that changes over time, and there are things that will lead to it spiking, and they'll be diminishing. So you actually have to know how much carbon there was at these particular time points to get it and align it between these points to actually get accurate dates, which makes it more difficult. So, yeah.
But like, unless you know the dates already, then it's not going to give you the dates.
It'll give you a rough date. Exactly. You're always going to
Someone
do
said
it.
zero and
It gives you something to aim for.
If someone gives you a specific date, they're lying. Not lying, but they're
Wrong.
simplifying.
Wrong.